Umuaka village, where palm trees bend gently when the wind passes and the evening sun paints the sky with deep orange, there lived a man known across regions, Pastor Kelechi Madu, spiritual leader of House of Fire ministry. His church sat at the center of the village like a giant awaiting worship. People traveled from Imo, Abia, Anambra, even far places in Lagos and Abuja to attend his crusades. Women carried sick children there. Old men trusted him with their last hope. Everybody believed he was a man specially chosen by God. On Sundays, the church compound overflowed. Cars parked all the way to the village square. Traders carried water and snacks around. The ushers kept shouting, "Shifts! Make space! People still dey come." The whole place looked like carnival. People said, "If Pastor Kelechi touch you, your problem go end," and so on. People pushed, fought, and squeezed themselves just to get near him. But deep inside the walls of the church, behind the heavy pulpit and sweet songs, something else lived. Something hidden, something dark, something older than the village itself. For Pastor Kelechi was not who people believed he was. Long before fame came, he had struggled as a young man. He served under different pastors, worked for different ministries, and even sold Christian books in markets. But he wanted more. He wanted to be known. He wanted the world to bow when he prayed. He wanted wealth that no man could question. And in his desperation, he followed a path that led him into a world from which very few returned. One night, after attending a pastor's conference in Owerri, he met a strange man wearing a long red cloak. The man's face was hidden. His voice did not sound like it came from one throat. It sounded like two voices speaking inside one body. "Kelechi Madu," the man called him without introduction. "You want power?" Kelechi trembled. Who are you?" The man answered, "I am the doorway to everything you desire." The man answered, "Follow me." Without thinking, without asking questions, Kelechi followed. The man led him through a thick bush path until they reached an abandoned shrine. Inside the shrine, red candles were burning, though no one seemed to light them. Strange symbols covered the walls. The air smelled like blood and smoke. Kelechi's heart beat fast. There, he was introduced to the Brotherhood of the Clemson Knights, an occult group older than colonial times. Their covenant was simple but deadly. They promised him fame, crowd, miracles, money, and respect. But in exchange, he must sacrifice 15 human beings every year. The victims must be poor people connected to him, members of his congregation, friends, neighbors, even family. If he refused or failed, his soul would be dragged into eternal darkness. At first, he wanted to run, but when they showed him visions of a giant church, large clouds, bags of money, and influence stretching across Nigeria, he agreed. They cut his hand, mixed his blood with theirs, and marked his forehead with a symbol he could not see, but always felt burning. From that night, Kelechi began a life he could never escape. His church grew like wildfire. Miracles, though fake, appeared real. Evil spirits pretended to flee. Sick people screamed, "I am healed," even when they were not. Money flowed. Gifts came. Women knelt before him saying, "Pastor, you are truly a man of God." Even politicians invited him to pray for them. But behind the scenes, every year, 15 people disappeared. At first, he sacrificed strangers from nearby villages, then random church members. But as years passed, it became harder. People were becoming suspicious. Families were asking questions, and the Crimson Brotherhood did not care. They only demanded blood. The 15th year finally arrived, and it was supposed to be his biggest sacrifice year. The court had told him that after this 15th renewal, he would receive the crown of eternal flame, a spiritual symbol that would make him untouchable. Pastor Kelechi looked forward to it. He wanted stronger fame, nationwide fame. He wanted to be on TV, on billboards, everywhere. But that year, something changed. People around him were becoming fewer. Everyone knew someone who had gone missing. The community began watching him closely. Even his church assistant whispered behind his back. Kelechi became desperate. He started sacrificing people with more boldness. One church usher, one member of the choir, a young man from the men's fellowship, 2 women who came for counseling. He always had a story to cover it. They traveled, they fainted and died. They had spiritual attacks. People believed him for many years, but he needed 15 sacrifices. And by the second week of the blood moon cycle, he had only 14. So he turned to his last option, his only sister. Chizoba was a simple woman. She sold fruit in the markets and lived a quiet life. She trusted her brother more than anyone else. Whenever she prayed, she would say, "God, bless my brother. Let his steps prosper." If only she knew what kind of steps he had taken. One night, Kelechi called her. "Chizoba, Biko, come to the church. I need help preparing for a revival." She did not think twice. She wrapped her shawl, carried her small torchlight, and followed him. When they reached the church, everything was too quiet. The lights were dim. Shadows stretched across the walls like long fingers. Chizoba paused. "Kelechi, this place did somehow." He only smiled. "Don't fear." Inside the main hall, she saw 12 men in red cloaks standing around the altar. Candles were burning everywhere. The air was thick and cold. Chizoba stepped back. "Kelechi, what is this?" Before she could run, they grabbed her and forced her into the center. Kelechi's hands were shaking as he lifted the ritual knife. But then, something unexpected happened. Chizoba stood up calmly. Her eyes glowed with a strange light, a light of resistance, a light of a strong ancestral spirit. Her voice became steady. "Kelechi, you cannot use me. My head rejects you." Kelechi froze. The cult elders began murmuring. The leader stepped forward and hissed. "Her head is too strong. Her spirit is fortified. She cannot be sacrificed." The shrine trembled. Candles flickered. The cult members' faces twisted in anger. "You have failed," the leader growled, "and failure has its price." They gave him 7 days to find another sacrifice, 7 days to complete the ritual, 7 days before they came for him. But no matter what he tried, everything failed. The church members he targeted escaped him. Plans collapsed. People suddenly felt strange fear when he approached. Even the animals avoided him. His spiritual voice cracked. His fake miracles stopped working. His dreams were filled with shadows, dragging him into darkness. On the 7th night, inside his mansion, a cold wind entered. The light flickered until everywhere became dark. Shadows walked along the walls. The cult members entered the room, not through the door, but through the darkness itself. "You have failed us," the leader said, voice echoing like hundreds of whispers. "Prepare." Kelechi cried. He begged. He screamed. But darkness swallowed his voice. By morning, he was found running around the village streets barefoot, shouting like a madman. People gathered, shocked. The pastor they respected looked like a homeless wanderer. His eyes were wide, his hair rough, his clothes torn. He stood in front of the church and confessed everything, every secret, every ritual, every murder. He knelt in the sand, crying and trembling. Mothers screamed. Old men shook their heads. Some people fainted. Some ran home in fear. But Kelechi kept whispering, "They are coming for me. They are coming." And then it happened. A loud scream burst from his throat. His body twisted violently. He fell to the ground and never rose again. From that day, House of Fire ministry became abandoned. Weeds grew around it. Bats lived inside the roof. People said that at night, they still heard footsteps walking inside the empty church. Some said they saw a shadow wearing a red cloak sitting on the dusty altar. Chizoba packed her things and left the village. No one knew where she went. Some said she moved to her mother's people in another town. Others whispered that a spiritual force guided her away. But one thing remained. The story of Pastor Kelechi Madu became a warning passed from mouth to mouth, from elders to children, and from one generation to the next. It taught the village that not all miracles come from the light. Some come from shadows wearing a holy robe, and not every man of God carries God's power. Some carry something else, something hungry, something patient, something that always returns to collect its debts. Thanks for watching. I love you all. Bye for now.